Mr. Cameron, what time does court start?
8:30.
What time did you get here?
I
Excuse me,
just got
Judge.
here.
He called. He's on the docket next Friday,
Oh,
and he explained.
Okay, right off the bat we've got international travel, a Bible teacher, and a DWI charge all wrapped into one. But here's the key, leaving the country doesn't pause a criminal case. Did you know that? Let me know in the comments should courts grant flexibility for planned missions abroad? Or is the law
That he was leaving the country, and I told him to come.
got it. Okay, thanks, Ramona.
You're
So,
welcome, Judge.
Mr. Cameron, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Officers initiated a traffic stop after observing the defendant failing to maintain a single lane and swerving between lanes without signaling. Upon the traffic stop, officers observed slurred speech and glassy bloodshot eyes. The defendant on his own immediately stated, "You're going to make me walk the line, aren't you?" The defendant admitted to drinking a glass of wine and taking a Valium. SFSTs were conducted, 6 out of 6 HGN, 5 out of 8 walk and turn, 3 out of 4 one-leg stand. DIC was read and defendant consented to blood draw.
Look, see if he has any prior DWIs, please. Valid Texas driver license. Mr. Cameron, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, I'm going to revoke your bond, put you in jail. You will not get more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Are you going to allow me to speak
What did you want to say?
in my defense?
I don't want you to talk about the case now. I've got a bunch of DAs here, and everything that you say, they can use it against you.
Absolutely.
Now it's
And
not,
I have nothing to hide, sir. I'm leaving the country. I have to leave the country to teach Bible and English in Ukraine on Monday. I've been planning this for months.
I'm not putting a travel restriction on you. I'm just ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs.
I haven't. I had 2 lens replacements that week, sir.
From now on, while this case is open, you are not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication.
I don't anyway.
Well, then it shouldn't be a problem. But you're going to be randomly tested. How long are you planning on being out of town?
7 months until May,
This is going to be an issue. When are you leaving?
Monday.
You need to hire a lawyer. You need to talk to a lawyer about this so we can work something out. But you now have an open criminal case. You can't take off for just 7 months. It's not going, that can't happen. It's going to be an issue.
Half of the things that officer said was a lie.
That's why we have trials.
Okay.
You know, that's why I get it. There's always 2 sides to a story. I understand. The evidence will point to whose side is correct. I don't know. I wasn't
May I
there.
ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
When does the blood work come in?
It takes a couple months. You have to understand that we live in a city of around 3 million people. On average, I probably have around a couple hundred DWIs that I'm working every week. In those, nearly every one of those is a blood test. So they are just overwhelmed with the amount of blood tests that they're working at any given time. So basically you get in line and then it just, when it's
Sir,
your
I had-
turn, that's when they do
I
it.
had 4 ounces of wine.
Let's not talk, please. Everything you say, they're going to sit there and they're going to type it
Absolutely,
against
I'm
you.
ready.
huge courtroom reality check. The judge just compared self-representation to performing open heart surgery on yourself. Yikes. And he's not wrong. Representing yourself in a DWI case? That's playing legal roulette. Would you go solo in court or get a lawyer ASAP? Drop. Your take below.
Don't. Now's not the time. You need a lawyer to represent you. What
I will be my own lawyer, sir.
Would you perform open heart surgery on yourself?
Uh,
And let me tell you this.
I have nothing to hide.
Let me tell you this. If you're going to represent yourself, I'm going to require your presence here every month to go through discovery. Whereas if you have a lawyer, I waive appearances, right? Just, you can't represent yourself and be gone for 7 months. It don't work like that. So if you hire a lawyer, I will waive your appearance.
I can do this by remote.
You can't. Your lawyer can't. If you represent yourself, I require your appearance
All
here.
right, sir. You're talking about a public defender? If one is appointed for me?
You have to qualify. I don't give out public defenders like it's candy on Halloween. You have to qualify. If you have an income and you meet the federal poverty guideline, then we will appoint you a lawyer. But if you don't qualify, then you have to go hire a lawyer. But once you do hire a lawyer, I waive appearances so you don't have to waste your time coming to court. And then at that point, your case will be put off around 4 months, give or take. And then when the evidence comes in, that's when we start working the case. But you have to understand that we randomly call people to take a drug and alcohol test. And if you don't show up, we issue warrants. So that could be an issue. So that's why you need a lawyer to represent you.
Can I say something about the Valium?
No, what you say now will do nothing as to whether there's probable cause, whether it's going to get dismissed, whether this or that. It has nothing to do with, and you're only hurting yourself. Nothing you can say right now will make it to where the case gets dismissed, whether it just doesn't.
Okay, Judge.
I'm doing that to help you, believe it or
Yes,
not.
sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
we have a lot of people that come in here and they just want to run gun. Just let's go now. Unfortunately, the law works at a snail's pace. And I know that it infuriates about 90% of the people, but that's just the way it goes.
And you're
I
right.
didn't invent it. I just try to
All right, sir.
micromanage.
In regard to the defendant's license, we see that he appears to have an out-of-state California license in the case, except in the case of employment. So it appears to be an out-of-state occupational license.
License, I'm going to bar you from driving as well, sir. No. And I'm going to tell you now, if you have an occupational license in California, you've now picked up a DWI. Once they get wind of that, it's very possible they revoke that license as well. If he has an occupational license, it's got to be because of a DWI. Why else?
Can
Just
I
don't
speak?
say, no, don't. It's going downhill real quick. Don't. Now's not the time. You need a lawyer. When do you leave on Monday?
7 a.m. from McAllen.
Oh, to McAllen.
No, from McAllen to Warsaw. Train to Kiev.
What I would do is get on it quick today to see about hiring a lawyer.
Okay.
And then they can appear on your behalf on Monday and we can work through the logistics. Don't just take off, because I'm telling you, if you just take off, I'm going to issue a warrant. And the next time you ever try to get on a plane, they're going to arrest you and you'll sit in custody for months. It is a potential incredibly big headache.
So what does the lawyer need to do on Monday?
You need to have a lawyer. The lawyer needs to come, file paperwork to represent you. And then we can talk about how to work the logistics with the case.
And we got to do that before 7 a.m. when the plane takes off?
Well, no. I mean, we don't start court here till 9 o'clock. So, hopefully if you hire a lawyer this weekend, they can try to get a hold of us through email, and perhaps we can work on it through the weekend, but
Okay.
you got to get on it
I'll
quick,
get on it.
because lawyers don't work on the weekends, and it's already Friday. And I can tell you, not many lawyers work very hard on Friday.
One more question, please.
Sure.
Even if it's used against me, can I explain the California license revoked?
Don't.
All right.
Just really, I know that you want to, it's just now's not the time.
Okay.
What we do is we usually give around 30-day resets for people to hire a lawyer, but I'm advising you to do it,
Okay. Tell me where to go right now.
Okay. So you're showing he has a suspended license for sure, right?
That's what it shows on our end, Your Honor. Suspended except for that employment
Okay,
exception.
I'm going to have you sign this affidavit promising us you're not going to drive. I'm going to have you sign a reset with Victoria. You sign the reset with Victoria. We'll have you meet with Fleischer for your bond conditions that you're not to consume alcohol or legal drugs. Understand, I don't care where you are. I know that you're going to Poland or wherever. You can't consume alcohol.
And you don't want me to drive from now?
Well, you have to follow the law. If you don't have a license, you're not allowed to drive.
Okay. All right, sir. All right, sir. All right.
Judge, were you saying to put it on Monday?
Well, he's gone Monday.
Okay,
I
so
would just say a 30-day reset and then just, have a lawyer as quick as you can. Theoretically, you don't have to. You could be out of town and still get with the lawyer and the lawyer can come. We just need to
No,
know before the next setting.
Yes, sir.
Because if you're not here or it's someone here on your behalf by the next setting and you don't appear,
Yes,
people don't appear, we revoke bonds.
yes, sir.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
How much money do you make a month?
I would say that
Be honest.
I just started with Tomball ISD, so I have barely worked a month, maybe 800.
How do you support yourself?
I have been working. I'm a retired teacher out of California, and so I have retirement. But I'm trying to come on to Tomball to add to my retirement.
So you earn a monthly stipend as
Yes,
a
sir.
part of your retirement.
Yes, sir.
And how much money do you make from that a month?
About plus Social Security.
All in all
About 5,000 a month, plus the 800 that I just made.
see a prior DWI.
I didn't see anything when I ran this criminal history, Judge. I can try again if you'd like, but nothing is showing up.
How many people are in your household? Who do you live with?
I'm living currently with my sister.
You're not married. You don't have children.
I am going through a divorce. My wife and son are in California.
So let's do this. I'll have you come sign this. I'll have you sign the reset. I'll get you with Fleischer for your bond conditions. We'll set you off a month. Just be careful out there.
All right, sir. All right, sir.
Judge, we're keeping the random scars.
Yes. James.
Yes, Judge, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Judge, I'm approaching on Munya Rabuga.
Okay.
I was just trying to get one last reset. There's a motion to adjudicate, I think, that's being worked on in felony court, and he has a new felony pending as well.
Judge, that's the one on page 28.
What's going on with Munyarabuga?
Sorry, Judge.
Munyarabuga.
Yes, Judge, he's got a new felony pending, and I don't think the
What do you mean
misdemeanor
he-
needs to go.
How did he picked up a new case for real?
It looks like a new one was filed, Judge. The offense date is April 4th, but the filing date is
Okay.
November 1st.
So it's not a new case.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
it's
Judge,
a
it's
new, but
New
it's,
to us, Judge.
my gosh.
Yes, Judge. And I was just going to see if I could get one last reset. I think that it'll probably be dismissed to be used in felony punishment at some point because he also has he's on deferred. And so I think at some point the motion to adjudicate is going to have to be resolved.
Judge, I have not had that advisement from felony myself, but I'll follow up with them and see if that's what they want us to do.
Yeah,
and
not setting it
also-
off to January, James. I mean, the case is like,
It's not, I don't think it's that old, actually.
yeah, I mean,
Let me
it's not
see.
too terribly old. How long do you want?
Can we get to after the felony date on January 23rd? Or is that too far out, Judge?
Yeah, it's too far out. Let's just do 30 for now, and then we'll come back and see where we're at.
Okay, so do you want to do middle of December, Judge?
December 17th through the
Yeah.
15th?
And I'm
Yeah, we can do December 17th. And just to be clear, Judge, I wasn't saying that the state was agreeing to dismiss it. I just have a feeling
Yeah.
that
There's
the
no,
felonies.
he's not, right.
No, I know, I got it, James.
It's just
Right.
Okay.
full.
Yes.
Okay.
We
Thank you,
love
Judge.
working with James.
Hey, did you get an email from the other people?
I haven't received one yet.
No,
I
okay.
emailed them, I CC'd,
What's the problem?
Since he's going out of town, he says that he won't sign for the next meeting.
Well, then I'm gonna put you in jail then.
How do I report
You need
the
a
right
lawyer,
on this?
you need a lawyer so we can work out the logistics. But, you know, normally
Lawyer
do,
will take care of this?
what we normally do when people are out of town, we have them tested at Quest Diagnostics. You going to Warsaw for 7 months, it's gonna be a humongous problem. I don't know how we're gonna do this. That's why you need a lawyer so we can figure out the logistics, because I'm not gonna take your word for it that you're not gonna go over there and not drink. Just, it's why it's a problem. But if you're not gonna sign for the conditions, I'm gonna revoke your bond, you know?
So you're advising me to go ahead and sign and the lawyer will.
Well, every person that picks up a DWI, we do the same exact thing. We order the same conditions.
Okay. Okay.
Serenity now.
He's not getting a hired attorney, correct? Or sorry, he's getting a hired attorney on his own behalf, right?
He's going, right.
No, I'm getting a public defender.
You make $5,800 a month, sir.
Yeah.
That doesn't, you
Okay.
have an income of $5,800 a month. That's not federal poverty guidelines. Sorry, but
Okay, sir.
I have to follow the law.
All right.
Are you Jose Vasquez?
Yes,
Mr. Vasquez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
nosotros le nombramos uno, señor.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On November 9th,
El 9 de noviembre del
2024,
2024,
the officer was
los
dispatched
oficiales fueron
in reference
despachados
to a major
en
crash.
a un choque.
Upon arrival,
Al
the
llegar,
officer observed the
los oficiales
defendant
observaron al
being
acusado,
treated by
que
Houston
estaban
Fire
tratando
Department,
el departamento de
and
bomberos
upon
de Houston,
contact with the wheel
tuvieron
witness,
contacto
the
con el
wheel
testigo,
witness advised that the defendant
que el
was
acusado
driving
estaba manejando
westbound
hacia el
when he struck
oeste
the median
cuando le pegó
at
al
the
camellón
intersection.
de la intersección.
The wheel witness observed the
El
defendant
testigo
then
observó
crashed into a
que el
street
acusado
sign,
se chocó en contra
exit the
de una
vehicle from
señal,
the driver's
salió del
seat,
vehículo por la parte
and the
de
wheel witness saw that the
del-
defendant was the sole
conductor
occupant.
y vieron que él era el
Upon
único
contact with the
acusado.
defendant,
Tuvieron contacto
the
con el
officer observed
acusado.
him with
Los oficiales
bloodshot,
observaron
glossy
los ojos
eyes,
rojizos,
improper balance,
falta de
and slurred
equilibrio
speech.
y el habla afectada.
Standard field sobriety tests
Hicieron
were
las pruebas,
attempted.
se trataron,
HGN was unable to be
hicieron
completed.
HN, no se pudo completar.
Walk and turn,
Caminaron
5 out of
golpear,
8,
5 de un
one
8,
leg stand,
una
1 out of
pierna,
4.
uno de
The
4.
DIC was red, and the defendant consented to
Y el
breath,
acusado dio el
but was
permiso para
unable
ver
to
el
follow
aliento,
instructions.
pero no pudo seguir las
Search warrant was
instrucciones.
then signed and
Hicieron
executed.
entonces la orden de registro.
Any prior DWIs?
No, Your Honor.
No,
Okay, and I forgot to ask you on the gentleman before us, were there any prior DWIs? Did you run an NCIC?
Gentleman before, let me see, Your Honor, I have it still pulled up. No, Your Honor.
Vasquez
señor
Ramos,
Vázquez
I'm
Ramos,
going to find that, I'm sorry, Mr. Vasquez Ladrillos,
Vázquez
I'm going to
Ladrillo,
find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case.
adelante con su caso.
What is your immigration status? Are you a citizen of the United States?
Unidos. No,
What happens if you go to jail?
Ya no voy a volver a hacer.
he says, I'm not gonna do that again.
I want you to tell me what happens if you go to jail. I want you to think, and I
Cárcel.
want you to tell me what happens if you go to jail.
¿Qué sucede si usted va a la cárcel?
Es que no puedes, que tengo mi mamá enferma.
She said, I can because my mother is sick.
I'm going to ask you,
This right here is the emotional gut punch. If you're undocumented and get arrested, ICE might detain you for months even if your criminal case is minor. The courtroom just turned into a life-altering moment. Imagine knowing one bad choice could lead to deportation. Heavy stuff.
You again, are you in this country with or without permission?
País con o sin permiso. Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Entonces, si usted va a la cárcel,
Ya no bebo ahora también.
I'm not gonna drink again.
I'm trying to get you to put two and two together, Mr. Vasquez. You're not in this country with permission.
En este
If
país,
you go to jail and immigration finds you, they're going to put an immigration detainer on you and you will be stuck in custody for the next 6 to 9 months.
de 6 a 9
That is what what you have waiting if you go to jail. They sweep the jail every 4 to 6 hours, and if they find you, you will be in there for a very long time. I'm putting conditions on your bond now. If you violate these conditions, I will put you in jail. You were lucky enough to get out one time. You may not be lucky the next time.
tenga la suerte la próxima vez.
Do you
¿Lo
understand?
entiende?
Sí,
Yes.
You don't have a Texas driver license, do you?
¿Es verdad?
No.
No.
Then you're not allowed to
No
drive.
se le permite.
And I'm making that a condition of your bond.
Viendo eso como confianza.
This is an affidavit, which is a promise that you're going to make to me today that you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If there's a burning building and 50 kittens need to be saved, you drive,
Si usted maneja,
you will be with me.
sí, estará conmigo.
I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I will randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, likewise, you will go to jail. The reason you got out of jail so quick is we gave you a free bond. It's not going to happen again. So if you spend any more than 4 to 6 hours in there, get ready for a detainer.
Prepárese para que lo tenga.
You understand?
¿Entiende?
I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'll get you to Victoria where you will sign a reset. You will get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then we will get you out of here to hire lawyers.
Y entonces usted sale de aquí.
Heed this warning because you will not get another one. Follow these conditions.
Esas condiciones, yes, sir.
Okay, please.
All right, Judge, next is page 7.
Thank you.
Perez. Michael,
Did you say Perez?
Perez,
First.
first? Okay, come
Right,
on.
right, right.
You, Michael Todd First.
Sure.
Mr. First, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. And you're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant. So on the DWI, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. On your other case, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On November 7th, 2024, the officer responded to an HEB in Harris County, Texas, in response to a public intoxication call. Upon contact with the defendant, who matched the description given over dispatch, the officer observed the defendant to have bloodshot, glossy eyes, slurred speech, and a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, and the defendant was extremely unsteady on his feet. The defendant failed to comply, having unprovoked aggression and irritability towards the officers, and refused to answer any and all questions regarding his history and whether the defendant had consumed any alcoholic beverage. Through surveillance footage, the officers observed the defendant drive to the store and was the sole occupant of his motor vehicle, and the witness advised the defendant entered the store appearing to be heavily intoxicated. Due to the defendant's level of intoxication, standard field sobriety tests were unable to be performed. The DIC was read, but the defendant refused. A search warrant was signed and executed despite the defendant's attempt to interfere with the execution of the blood warrant. He resisted the officers and the hospital staff and impeded the phlebotomist from complying with the warrant.
Just telling me that he interfered. DWI okay with the interference? You got to give me more than conclusory statements.
So 3 officers, Judge, had to restrain the defendant before the phlebotomist was able to take two vials
Better.
of blood. He disrupted the timeline of the execution. He impeded the phlebotomist from complying with the warrant. He interfered with the peace officer while the peace officer was performing his duty. So, Judge, it just seems like he was actively resisting the whole time.
Strap him to a gurney, does it say? Do you know?
Just
I'm gonna pull up the OR, Judge.
It's not necessary.
Furthermore, it also says that while in the hospital for approximately 5 minutes, the defendant repeatedly pulled away his arm from the phlebotomist and the officers while the phlebotomist was drawing blood.
Okay. All right, Mr. First, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward on both of your cases. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you have a Texas driver license? Can you run his license, please? And then how many prior DWIs do we have here? Do you have liability insurance in your name?
Currently, yes, sir. But I would.
I don't want to talk about the case at all. I'm just trying to determine whether we should allow you to drive or not.
Well, I have something to say on that. It would be fine with me if you ordered me not to drive. I don't need to drive. I don't have a job.
But I don't know how that'll impact your life. I am going to say this, though. I am ordering you now not to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. So I'm putting a restriction on your license that if you want to drive a vehicle, you're not allowed to unless it has an ignition interlock. Understand, if you drive a vehicle, it doesn't have one, you're in violation of the conditions and we're going to put you in jail.
Yes,
you understand? Yes. Mr. First, if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, you better take care of it, because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, his license is eligible and he only has one prior DWI from 2023 out of Montgomery.
On probation right now?
No, it was a 3-day jail sentence.
Okay. All right. So tell me, what do you do in life? Do you work?
I don't work right now. I'm in the process of filing for disability. I tore up my knee right before Christmas the last year, and it was really bad, and I'm still suffering with it today.
How do you support yourself?
My wife.
So you're married?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll do this. I'll give you an application. Let me see if I have one on file already. I need you to fill out an application for me for an appointed lawyer.
Yes.
So Deputy Reeves will give you an application. I'm going to have you sign a big reset with Victoria. You'll meet with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then we'll just have you take a seat in the jury box while we get all your conditions ready and then find your lawyer.
Fair
okay,
enough,
sir? Okay, please.
All right, Judge, next is page 10 and 11, Mancia.
Judge, can you check the waiting room?
Are we waiting on a translator, Vic? Do
Judge, I believe he's in the waiting room.
you know what the name is?
Hip Win.
Come on, man. Are you going to pay this? Yeah, that's it. Great. Here, you can take this. Okay, thanks. Good job, Lannis. Hi, Ramona.
Hi, Judge.
Judge, on that.
That guy, yeah. Just tell me, what do you got?
Yeah, that's all. These guys aren't here yet.
Oh,
I didn't know if you want her to wait or call back. I just thought I would.
do you know, is there a chance that we get this person or no?
So there's a 2-hour slot, so she might still.
Okay. Ma'am, we're still, or Mr. Nguyen, we're waiting on the person to arrive from the jail, so we'll know within the next hour when we get them, and then I'll just give you a heads up, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Deputy, do me a favor, will you? On the sound bar, there's a button to turn it on right at the end. If you just hit it one time. Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, Your Honor.
There we go. Okay. So just hang
Right.
tight with me. Hopefully we'll know within the next hour, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to wait for his lawyer to get here. So, Mr. Mancias, for now, I'm going to just have you take us in the juror box while we wait for your lawyer to get here, and then we'll talk about how we go forward with you.
Yes, sir.
Needless to say, this case is 200 days old, and it's time to put this baby to bed.
Yes, sir.
Take a seat for me.
All right, Judge, next is page 12. Nava, come on up.
Tomas Nava.
Sir.
Mr. Nava, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's second offense. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On November 8th, 2024, the officer was dispatched in regard to a two-vehicle collision. Upon arrival, the officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle in an 18-wheeler, and upon contact with the witness, the driver of the 18-wheeler, the witness advised the defendant was driving at the time of the collision. Upon contact with the defendant admitted to crashing his motor vehicle into the rear end of the 18-wheeler. The officer observed the defendant with red glassy eyes, slurred speech, and a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage. The officer further observed poor balance, and the defendant was swaying from side to side and was looking to the concrete barrier for support. The defendant admitted to drinking, and standard field sobriety tests were refused. The DIC was read, but the defendant refused. Blood search warrant was signed and executed.
I need you to do me a favor, please.
Yes, Judge.
Does he have any DWIs that are out of county? Can you run a full NCIC on Mr. Nava?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Nava, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more bond. No more PR bonds. No more free bonds. I will do everything in my power to protect the county. As far as I know, this is your third here in Harris County. I don't want you to drive. I'm ordering you not to drive. Do you understand? You will be, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you drive, I'm going to have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you get into a car and drive. And I don't care what your excuse is. You cannot justify getting into a car for any reason.
There are no out-of-county DWIs.
I'm also going to order you to not drive any vehicle that doesn't have a guardian interlock on it. If you're caught driving any vehicle into jail, you'll go, and I'm going to deem you a public danger, and I'm going to make your bond so high you'll have teeth popping out. I'm going to order you to obtain a handheld scram device that you're going to take with you, so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Judge, you said scram or?
He can get the portable.
Portable?
Yeah, today.
Yes.
I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'm going to get you to Victoria. We're going to have you sign a reset. You'll get with Felicia for your bond conditions.
Yes, I got a lawyer, for the
Okay,
next.
just don't consume alcohol for any reason. I don't care what your excuse is, and above all else, don't drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.